Have you already been denied once, twice, 3 times or more? And now you're filing another supplemental claim? Well, here's the truth. VA raters don't see it as a fresh start. They see it as, did you bring me something new? Or are we just wasting our time again? Today, I'm taking you inside the mind of a VA rater and breaking down the top 5 things they really look for in a supplemental claim. If you're missing even one of these, your claim can get shot down again. We're going to change the sequencing up just a little bit. 5 and 4 are probably the most important things. And about 90% of the time, it's the reason you keep getting denied on number 5 and 4. Stay with me for 3, 2, and 1, because I'm going to tell you how to fix your claim. Do me a favor, though. Help me help you. I realize you can just skip to the end, find out what the 5 things are, and move on with your day. But the real need of helping me help you is what is being said, not what is written. So give me 15 minutes or less, and I'll give you enough information to put you closer to or in that 100 club. I'm Mr. X. I'm the guy behind the guy, giving you all the information you want to know and need to know about the VA claims process. And this is the VA Top 5. Kicking things off here. When determining if service connection is warranted for whatever condition you put in for, the VA rater has to verify that you meet all 3 of these criteria. First, do you have a current diagnosis of whatever condition you're putting in for? Second, is there an in-service injury, event, or illness that is directly related, secondarily related, presumptively related to the current diagnosis that you're putting in for? And third, is there a nexus tying your current diagnosis with your in-service event? As a baseline, if you have all 3 of these, then there's a good chance that service connection will be granted. I realize that there are plenty of veterans out there that have all 3 and service connection has not been granted for one reason or another. And I'm sure there's probably a case-specific reason for that. But as a whole, you need to meet the criteria for all 3 for service connection to be granted. Tip number 5, relevance to denial reason. This is a golden rule. Every supplemental claim gets judged by this. Does the new evidence fix the exact reason why you were denied the first time? Every time a VA rater starts a new claim, there's a few basic things that they go through. Stuff like, are the service periods listed correctly in the system? Is the date of claim correct? Okay, then they're going to be identifying what type of claim they're going to be working. Is this a claim for increase? Is it a new claim? Is it a supplemental claim? And then we're going to start going through the form. In your case, with the supplemental claim, they're going to verify or look to see exactly what you claimed. Then they're going to be reviewing your entire e-folder to determine the specifics. How many times were you previously denied for this condition and why? So, for example, if you were previously denied for a low back condition, well, how many times were you denied? Twice. Well, why were you denied? If you were denied for no diagnosis, then the new evidence should be something with a diagnosis. If you were denied prior to for no nexus, then that's the evidence that you're going to need to supply in your supplemental claim. Raters aren't just guessing. They're literally checking it to see if you solved the problem that they pointed out in your previous denial letter, or letters, I should say. Tip number 4, new and relevant evidence. One of the very first questions a rater asks is this evidence actually new? Now, if you just resend in the same doctor's note that they've already reviewed prior, or that you already submitted on a prior decision, well, I'm not impressed, okay? But does it count as new or relevant evidence? Just because they didn't weigh it as heavily as you thought they should have. If they included it in the evidence portion of that rating decision, and then you submit it again, it's not new, and it's not relevant. Hate to say, that's the truth though. New needs has never been submitted before or never been considered before. And relevant means it actually addresses the reason why your claim was denied the first time. Example, so if your denial letter said no diagnosis, then your supplemental claim better have a new diagnosis attached, or better show something with a diagnosis. Otherwise, you're just stuck at square one again. Tip number 3, the specificity of medical records. One thing I want you to remember, vague does not win. If your new evidence says something like, hey, the veteran has knee pain, the rater's probably gonna skim right past that. But if it says something like, the veteran has right knee arthritis confirmed by x-ray, consistent with injuries sustained during airborne jumps, well, now we're talking. Now, the inner cynic in me thinks that, hey, the rater could skim past that, just like they could skim past the first example, and you wouldn't be wrong. There's a chance that it could happen. But I'm saying there's less likely of a chance because it is specific. Specific details equal stronger claims. Think of it this way. If your doctor writes something to the effect of, yep, he's hurt. Well, that's about as useful as an MRE veggie omelet that's going straight in the trash and not paying attention to it. Specific details matter as far as the medical evidence goes. So the more specific evidence that you could submit or have notated in your file, that's going to be better for you in the end run or in the long game. Number 2, nexus strength. So the reason why you were previously denied was due to having no nexus between your current diagnosis and the injury event or illness in service. Then you got to provide something. The raters want to see that the evidence that you submitted actually strengthens the link between your current condition and service, or even hints at a link between your current condition and service. Now, you don't have to go to a doctor and pay for a statement. Okay, Mr. X doesn't suggest that. Not against it, but to each their own. I know some doctors don't want to provide nexus statements, VA or your private healthcare providers, and I get that. But you have to give them something evidence-wise, or else there's no new or relevant evidence. So let's say you were previously denied for a low back condition, and you absolutely were not seen in service for your low back condition. I get it. You know, we all have back pain every now and then. But if your MOS, that's part of your MOS duties, if you did multiple jumps and that created strain upon your back, then I would submit evidence that shows that, hey, your MOS has a higher chance of increased degenerative disease or something of that nature. Anything that hints that your MOS, which was in service, could be related to your current condition. Now, that hint of it is all you need with the current diagnosis. And then the VA will go out and get that nexus statement from the doctor. You have to provide something. If it's not a strong link, then you need to hint at a link. What they're looking for is a stronger, clearer connection in your nexus. Okay, so if you're lacking in nexus due to nothing in service, you are treated for your low back, then submit a scholarly article that shows your MOS is related to your low back condition. Submit something, because in the end, that's going to help strengthen that connection. Tip number 1, consistency with prior evidence. So this is the big one that raters check in on. Does your new evidence line up with your old evidence? Now, I get it. Sometimes we misremember the sequencing of events in our lives, or how injuries happened, or when, and all of the above. But if your story changes too much, it could raise some red flags. For example, if your original claim said your injury started while in Iraq, but your new evidence says it started stateside after training, well, that level of inconsistency could sink your case. In the event that would happen, because you misremembered how, the sequencing of events while in service, then I might submit a 4138 statement of supportive claim, or a lay statement, or any statement that just says, hey, I kind of screwed this up, I misremembered the event, and then just try to clarify it that way. You don't have to, but it's nice. The trick is to build on your old claim. Add strength to it. Don't try to rewrite history, especially all in one claim or all in one statement, because it's going to raise too many red flags and not be overall credible. So, consistency with prior evidence. All right, wrapping it up here. Remember, supplemental claims aren't about flooding the VA with paper. It's about precision. Give the rater exactly what they asked for. If you were denied for no nexus, then provide a nexus. If there was no previous diagnosis, then show a current diagnosis. If you do this, then you're going to massively improve your chances for success. Now, what I've tried to lay out here, and hopefully I'm explaining it well enough, is this. Go through the finite details of your previous rating decision where you were denied. I know some of the verbiage used in those rating decisions, it reads like stereo instructions. It's a pain. But go through, find out exactly what you're missing, and then submit strong, detailed, clear, clean evidence. And your chances for success are only going to go up. Now, do me a favor. If you watch this video and feel like I gave you enough information to where you know what to do to make your next supplemental claim at least 20% better, then you owe me a thumbs up. In honor, the NFL kicking off this week, week 1, throw me a comment. Let me know who your team is. Let me know who you're rooting for. I'm curious. Also, please subscribe for more no-fluff VA claim tips broken down with a little humor and some honesty. I'm Mr. X. Thanks for being with me. This is the VA Top 5.